Start praying, boy.
Hey, have you ever run into this situation? The enemy team has way too many jumping Bostonians or Scottish people with shields and think to yourself, damn, I wish I could somehow ruin these people's days while not having fun yourself. Well, unfortunately for both parties, Natascha exists. When you use it, it feels awful, but it doesn't feel great to go against either. So overall the weapon is just not that great and I wish to share my thoughts on it. But before we do, I honestly want to thank you all for such overwhelmingly positive feedback for the stereotype video. I was honestly very surprised to see how well people liked it, as I thought making fun of someone's main is a recipe for hostility. But overall it's been really wonderful, and it makes me more motivated to try harder, so again, thank you everyone. But back to the topic, you know the deal by now, the stats. You slow down enemies on hit, you get 20% damage resistance when you drop below 150 HP, you deal 25% less damage and it's slower to spin up. The fact this weapon allows you to affect people's movement by just shooting at them should have been enough to be reworked into something else, but for some reason Valve always tried to make this thing work even though the concept was flawed from the start. It should not be really a surprise that nobody likes movement penalties, especially cheap ones. Most weapons that affect your movement have either been reworked into something else or require them to come close to the enemy, while with Natascha you can shoot at them with healthy medium distance. The slowdown ramps up the closer you are to the enemy, but it's just enough to mess up someone's movement at a long distance. This is especially very effective against scouts, rocket jumping soldiers and demo knights, as it really halts their movement and makes them more vulnerable. It is quite funny to see how desperately the enemy tries to run away from me, but because they're slowed down, my team can jump in too and finish them off. But this weapon just makes me feel like an asshole, as it feels cheap to use this unlock. And the enemy doesn't have much counterplay against the slow it down other than avoiding going against me. So this weapon just sucks to go against. So maybe Heavy gets some enjoyment out of this. Fuck no, this weapon is awful to use. You rev up slower, which means if you get caught off guard you are easier target, you deal less damage, so it means you will be mowing down the enemy that quickly, which gives them just enough time to fuck you up. And this weapon is so goddamn loud, just revving it up alerts the entire server that you're using a weapon that makes everybody involved want to resort to alcoholism, as this weapon just makes everyone just that miserable. I want to like Natascha, I really do. As I can't tell how much satisfaction it gives me to put a stop to Scout jumpy business, or those demo knights were just pain in the ass to go against. But what's the point if you just inconvenience their day? This weapon has just aged poorly and has no place in the modern day of TF2. When the weapon works, it's not fun for the enemy, but when it doesn't, it especially isn't fun for you. So if I could rework this weapon, here's what I will do with it. What I will do is that when you shoot at the enemy, you get a speed boost and you walk 35% faster while revving up, so it negates the movement penalty. But for downsides you deal 20% less damage. It will deal slightly more damage than it does currently, and at least you get a one weapon to mess around with its speed. I hate being this negative, as I'm usually a very positive guy, but Natascha just ruins it for me, as it's not fun to use or go against. So it's just an overall negative experience for both parties. Plus this weapon makes me feel bad, so I want to stick with Tomislav, as it's just more fun to use. Not only because it's more accurate and revs up faster, but also allows me to ambush enemies because it's silent. Thank you all for watching, do leave a like if you want to see more TF2 stuff in the future, maybe leave a nice comment down below and be sure to tell your own thoughts on the Natascha, and have a nice day.
Yeah! Help!